Hello, my podcast peoples. This is estate planning and asset protection attorney, Leslie Marenco, bringing you another episode of Having Fun with Death and Taxes. And today, I happen to be joined again by my illustrious guest, Ernesto Martinez, Ernie the attorney, the one, the only. Ernie, introduce yourself.
What can I add to that?
I think he's moved into my podcast studio. I don't know. You're just the co-host now, Martinez. I think we just have to make it official. Your co-host, Ernie Martinez. Prodigy.
The Prodigy. You're just buttering me up now.
Prodigy became an estate planning attorney when he was 5. And he's been a lawyer for 35 years, correct?
Yes.
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 And knows a lot more about general pop culture than generally I do, so that's usually a good thing. But in this episode, this is episode number 4. And as you guys would remember, in episode number 3, when we were discussing the Elvis Presley estate, we said we were also going to segue into his daughter's estate now that she passed away less than 2 years ago, I guess. And so let me break down what we know about this estate, Martinez. So Lisa Marie was an only child, born in 1968, and she passed away in 2003 at the age of 54. So at least she lasted a little longer than Elvis. Maybe alleged partying and stuff was significantly less, so she stuck around longer. She had been married a bunch of times, as you have reminded me. She was married 4 times to different people.
She's very loving.
She has a lot of love to give. I don't know, this is not very fair. Some of us never find anyone to marry. I mean, I am someone, for the record here. And she found 4 different people that she loved enough to legally get attached to. That's just wild, including, of course, Michael Jackson and Nicolas Cage. I had no idea she was married to Nicolas Cage. So at the time of her death, she actually had 3 daughters. Still alive because her son had also passed away at that time. And her oldest daughter was 33 years old, named Riley. And then she has 2 14-year-old twins named Harper and Finley when she passed away. So she had a little bit more planning than Elvis. I mean, we discussed in the last episode, Elvis wasn't LegalZoom because in 1970, whatever, there was no LegalZoom. Maybe he went to Office Depot and bought one of those forms or something because it was absolutely terrible. So she had a little bit more planning. Now, we recall that she inherited everything at 25, outright, free of trust. And then she went and did her own trust, which very nicely she called the Elvis Presley Trust. And that was her main trust. And then she started setting up entities, or her advisor started setting up entities underneath that trust. And the main entity that we're going to be discussing is Elvis Presley Enterprises, Inc., which is EPE, Inc. So there's clearly whatever attorney this was doing all of this had zero creative bones in his body, because it's the Elvis Presley Trust and Elvis Presley Enterprises, and there's no anonymity here. There's no leave it to the imagination.
A lot of branding.
No, this is all about the branding. And so different assets were put into different entities, but this one is
not the secret trust.
This is not the secret trust, and this is not the secret entity. We don't, when we're looking for somebody to sue, we're like, oh yes, that's it. That's the ink right there. And so these entities, as they restructured, held different business interests and actually held the interest to Graceland. As we learned in the last episode, Graceland was a major moneymaker, not only directly for Elvis Presley estate, but because of its popularity and how people love it, it led to so many other branding, licensing, memorabilia deals, and kept really Elvis alive in the public.
We should have gotten mugs for
Elvis mugs, Elvis mugs. I mean, what did you say before? We should be on site. We should be at Graceland,
at Graceland.
with our banner,
remote,
and a microphone. That's where we should have been. Yeah. But the budget. There's no budget. There's no budget yet, Martinez.
Yeah, I think if we were there on site, right in front of Graceland, in the background,
that would get us sponsors. All sponsors, please reach out. hello@funwithdeathandtaxes@gmail, please. Okay, because we need sponsors to go to Graceland. So as we saw, by the time she inherited all this money, there was around $100 million, they say, in the estate that her mom, Priscilla, and all the advisors had very carefully managed and built up. But alas, But alas, Martinez, that it did not stay that way. It did not stay that way because it is reported. God, this is terrible. It was reported that when she passed away, these are the assets that are left. $95,000 in cash, around $700,000 in bonds, stocks, and other things like that. And she was still making about $100,000 from Elvis Presley Enterprises, which owns a little bit of the interest in Graceland. We'll talk about that deal. And she was a lot of debt, and over $1 million are owed to the IRS when she passed away. And there was also pending lawsuits. Apparently her ex-husband, Mr. Lockwood here, had reopened the MSA, the divorce, saying, hey, I'm owed more money in child support for the twins. So he wanted $4,600, which doesn't seem like a whole lot of money, really.
A month?
Yes, a month. I mean, it's only $5,000 a month. These are famous little kids, man. So as we can see, something went wrong. Something went wrong between $100 million, when she was 25, and by the time she's 54, it went south, Martinez. It went south. And are you at all surprised? You don't seem that surprised.
I'm not that shocked.
You're not shocked and appalled?
No,
like this never happens? Like this is the one estate where this happens? No. I mean, she inherited maybe some of her dad's tendencies. I didn't hear anything about her giving away Cadillacs, but, I think maybe some of that money mindset was inherited by Lisa Marie. So anything that I'm missing here? I know you're like the king of pop culture in general and know so much more than I do.
Yeah. Well, she did try to have a singing career.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that must have not went well because I've never heard of this,
Yes.
He's like, yeah, allegedly it did not go well. It was
not as well as
Elvis. She didn't make $1 billion while she was alive. No. Okay. Well, one of the things that I'll say about the cycle repeating itself, interestingly, is something that's talked about a lot when you start to research her estate, is how she also had not a colonel or private, no, but she also had a co-trustee that managed the trusts and stuff, and that she gave a lot of control to, and that is Mr. Siegel. And Mr. Siegel was also kind of this business manager, and he put together a deal. So now you should be having flashbacks of certain deals that, Colonel Parker put together for Elvis. And Mr. Siegel put together a deal where he was going to sell interest in this EPE, Elvis Presley Enterprises, to a company. And he ended up selling it for about $100 million. But not much money was seen from that. Not much money. So there was $40 million that came into, not the estate. This is back when she was alive. And he also had $25 million. So he kind of did this whole structure. So he got $40 million in cash and then $25 million in stock of the parent company that is also the parent company of American Idol. And interestingly, whether that was a good deal or not, there's a lot of research on both sides, a lot of opinions on both sides, but certainly a lot of people say that there was absolutely no income tax planning for this, so taxes ate a lot of that deal, and that extra 15%, the $25 million in stock, that company went bankrupt. So later, just like in the Colonel Parker kind of thing, when we play, we start reviewing all of this stuff to remove him as trustee. They definitely started second guessing whether that was a prudent investment. Interestingly, Mr. Siegel says, because she of course sued him at some point and said, you're not managing my money. You didn't structure these deals well. You're not doing what's in the best interest of these companies, my trust, etc. And you have not provided accountings and all, the usual things we say. I mean, nobody likes to do accountings. Nobody likes to do accountings, right? And so what is the first thing we say usually in every estate litigation? Where are the accountings? Where's the inventory? Where are the assets? What's been done, right? And when he countersued, he said, no, honey, you never wanted accountings because you never wanted all of these other partners and these business interests to see how much you were spending. And I had to do these deals because you were blowing so much money and we had so much debt that I was trying to alleviate, some of this debt,
Overspending,
Those
shocking.
are his, shocking. And he's like, outraged, like, how dare you? I have to sell these assets because you, ma'am, singing career is not working out, and Priscilla's no longer managing this, and you're spending like a drunken sailor, but you're not your daddy. You don't got any good music, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, probably they spent part of it on the studio.
The studio.
And all that for her singing career.
Yes, and even though I'm assuming Nicolas Cage and Michael Jackson could hold their own, and they're, I'm sure, very prenups and stuff, all of these divorces these do not contribute to acquiring wealth, right? Divorce does not, in my experience,
I don't know, but she didn't do well in these divorces.
She didn't do well in these divorces.
Nicolas Cage, oh my God, like Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, just one song.
We should pull
one song would have made
these MSAs or something, because it doesn't look like it went well.
Billie Jean would have paid for everything. Just one song.
Just one song. I mean, I can only imagine the prenups that were drafted in these from both sides, potentially, right? But she certainly seems to not have acquired much wealth in her life and spent a lot of money in her life. Whether it is, Mr. Siegel's fault or not, he was removed by the court in 2015. So he's no longer involved in the estate. But there was a settlement, so I'm not quite sure. There was no 300-page report by a curator or a special master that is, there for all to see.
We want to see that accounting.
We want to see the accounting and the special master report. No, none of that was there for me to pull, at least not from regular.
Did not make it public, probably.
No, they did not. But I mean, I will say that it doesn't seem like any income tax planning was done on that $100 million deal. The tax numbers for the capital gains and stuff, when you review everything online, seems pretty brutal. So it just kind of seems like, I mean, fuck it. Why call a tax lawyer when you could just, full speed ahead? We got debts to pay. We gotta dump some of these assets and
liquidate.
And it seems like they thought, I mean, the parent company to American Idol seems kind of a sure thing. No, I mean, American Idol was kind of popular, I remember. And,
in hindsight, it's done very well.
You see?
In hindsight,
yeah.
Who'd have thunk all these years it's still going on?
Who'd have thunk? But it didn't.
We should have invested in the first one. And then
the first one, yes.
With hindsight now.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, with hindsight, we should have, invested in AOL before the stock split in like 1997. I mean, if we could only go back in time, Martinez, we could
invest in Google.
Time the market over and over again.
We need to go back and invest in Google.
We definitely do. Tesla, Google, Facebook, of course.
There's movies about that, but yeah.
Going back in time, or
yes.
or to invest in.
Well, now the ethical rules.
What is this, Back to the Future? Like what?
Well, now you're dating yourself. Hey,
that is a movie from my youth. So, as we can see, I mean, throughout her life, she didn't quite grow this estate. That seems clear based on the filings that we just read. I mean, if all you got is $95,000 in cash and $700,000 in stocks and bonds and a percentage of EPE, still 15%, she kept. So there was $100,000 of income, it looks like, just from that asset. But that's about it. That's about it when she passed away. So the real party now starts after she passes away. Again, she's very young. She's 54. She has Riley. She also has the teenagers that are 14. So they're relatively young. And all of a sudden, Priscilla is shocked and appalled because she believed that she was always a successor trustee in these documents, and she was initially named a successor trustee. But in 2016, this mysterious amendment pops up, and it's dated in 2016, which names Riley and her brother Benjamin, who apparently had passed away in 2020, as trustees of the trust instead of Priscilla. So the children, not the children's grandma, right? Which, initially was kind of like, why would you do that when Priscilla has done such a good job previously? But there is some people reporting that there had been a little bit a strained relationship in the last years of their life. But this amendment looked very sketchy. And I'm sure you've never seen amendments that look strange here in Miami, Martinez. I'm sure you've never seen something that you look at and you're like, what clown drafted this, right? Because there was no witnesses to this document. Certainly not a notary.
That's inconvenient.
I mean, that's just inconvenient. It's very
inconvenient. To have witnesses in a notary.
I mean,
which in Florida,
Florida.
It requires two witnesses.
We need witnesses, you know.
Now, if you follow the law, now that's very inconvenient.
That's already inconvenient. The law is very inconvenient to people that want to go there. This was in California. So there's no witnesses, no notary. Priscilla's name is misspelled in the document, which also seems a little suspicious, you know.
Given the fame.
Priscilla's not Ulysses Daisy, right? I mean, it's Priscilla. I mean, this isn't a typical Miami name that you're like, how the fuck do you spell that? No, it's Priscilla. And Priscilla also alleges that her daughter's signature doesn't look legit. That is not my daughter's signature. And so Priscilla files a petition and says, I want to invalidate this last amendment. I don't know when I was removed. Now, it doesn't look so good that this was a 2016 amendment. This wasn't done, you know, on her deathbed or anything like that. These are all questions we as attorneys, when we have clients coming into our office, we want to get the lay of the land. We need all the facts, the details. We want to know if this notary is your cousin. If this notary is even still a notary, right? Like half the time people are notarizing documents. I love it. They're not even notaries anymore. They're fucking
maybe they just inherited the stamp.
Yes, they're like, I lost that stamp 3 years ago. I don't know. It falls apart really quick at every depot. That's usually the case. Everyone is real cute until you get them in front of a deposition, right? So Priscilla's not having this. Priscilla's like, this sounds like BS. And she challenges this amendment. And so one of my questions that you've already started to allude to is, you know, this is California and we're not California attorneys. But the formalities here in Florida are very serious. They're the first way that you're going to invalidate everything because you don't even need to go to the other much more complicated things about forgeries or not or whatever if you don't have the formalities, right?
Yes.
Formalities are very important in Florida.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, clients are like, oh, can we just sign it? And I'm like, no, you know, and then...
Or they'll be like, well, there was another witness in the room. Can't I just have them come here and tell the judge? No, this is not, let's beef this up with the facts, you know, with some fact witnesses. No. This is an ultimate, not going to work. Not going to work.
You know, and sometimes people think it's silly, but everybody has to be in the same room.
That's right.
So you can observe them signing.
Yes.
Not in the reception area or around the city.
I kind of went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I didn't come back. You know, by the time I came back,
yeah, my cousin, he's sort of in the area.
I was maybe there. I don't recall.
Now you refresh my memory. Yes, I was there.
Yes, I was there. Yes, I mean, you know, Miami's a very special place. It's people don't have a lot of love for legal formalities of any sort, really, we've noticed, right? So people think they're smarter than the average bear around here.
Yeah, it's to avoid these problems.
Yes.
To avoid these problems, these formalities where you have... I've even had, I don't know why, maybe it's older attorneys have 3 witnesses.
Yes, that's true. I do think that's an older attorney thing.
3 witnesses. Why have 2 when you can have 3?
Well, I mean, if you got to hunt one down, you know, one might be dead, the other one moved away, and hopefully we find one, maybe, you know?
Yeah, which is an issue sometimes. I've had to, like, search for witnesses.
Yes.
And if it's a neighbor of similar age that died.
That's right.
And the other one's in the ALF.
We can't do a seance. We can't do a seance to bring it back.
And the other one's in the ALF.
We can't hire Miss Cleo to do, you know. No, Miss Cleo.
This is in California.
I'm definitely aging myself. Like, I can't hire Miss Cleo.
This is California. It's not allowed in California. We don't know. We're not California.
We're not California lawyers, but I don't think the testimony of a medium talking to your witness who's passed away is going to work, right?
That spiritual connection is not valid?
It's not.
No?
It doesn't have... enough reliability. I mean, imagine that. The judge is just not, you know, spiritual enough. And so that was the first thing that came up in this estate. And immediately after that was settled, believe it or not, within a month. So this is like the estate that keeps on giving. This is all quite recent. Somebody sued the estate because they had leveraged Graceland for a loan that they had allegedly provided to Lisa Marie for $3.8 million. And what's also interesting about this loan, and you as a real estate lawyer, I think will also find this to be, you know, like really the way that they structured it is wow. So they had everybody in the estate, Lisa Marie, and anyone that, so there's no allegation that certain people didn't sign that should have signed or anything like that. So all relevant parties. And it's almost like everything is already signed over. Like, we don't need to foreclose on this loan. The deed is already signed. It's kind of like we already executed everything transferring to us, and we put it in our safe. And the day you default, we just take it out of the safe and we start recording shit, right? We record title, we record this deed, we record all of these things, and look at that. No need for a foreclosure. Ta-da! I mean, that is just very interesting, the way that you see that this deal was structured. Seems a little predatory, seems a little suspicious. I don't know. I mean, here in Miami, I think everything is a little suspicious when you're bypassing usual court processes, right? That give everybody an opportunity to.
Yes, especially with the famous place like Graceland.
Yes.
You wonder how many of these go for not. As you have, I have, where you have documents that, as you know, most of us are, we have standard documents and so on.
Right.
But my favorites are the ones where we have notarized and witness documents for the deceased.
Oh, yes.
That's my favorite. The
because
deed.
Here in Miami.
Yeah.
Here in Miami.
So when you're faced with the judge always asks, well, they're thinking criminally, but, how did, after 5 years after death, that...
Is someone signing deeds?
Signing deeds.
How do dead people sign deeds?
Well, even in Miami, dead people do not sign deeds.
Even in Miami. Are you sure? Are you sure? Well, Martinez, we have very special... religions here in Miami, right? So we do. And
they figured that the deceased wanted this, so they assisted the deceased. And
they're just helping out.
They're helping out the deceased and signing these documents. But it is after looking at this, which obviously is shocking, but given the history that I've experienced and.
Yes,
I have seen documents.
It happens more often than you think.
It happens
that dead people sign documents after they died.
And then you have to prove that the deceased did not sign the document.
And one would think that would be simple. You just have one death certificate. But no.
No. That's what really shocks. Obviously,
years
fraud.
Of litigation.
Obviously, fraud. Yeah, I did think, even with the title company, I said, this is a death certificate.
It has a date.
And it's 5 years before this ever happened.
So not possible.
Not possible at all. And yet there was litigation over it.
I have such a good story, and it's ongoing. So let me be careful about how I phrase this. It's public record. It's public record. However, I will not mention a client's name. So we have a PNC, a potential client, call us, right? And she's a daughter, and I thought only Hispanic people sign deeds when they're dead. I feel like this was always in the context of Latin culture. It's a rich tradition in my Latin culture. But I have recently found out that the Russians in Sunny Isles also have this tradition. They also believe that dead people can sign deeds. Yes. Because the daughter calls us and she's like, hey, my mom, very, very wealthy lady, had sold and had kind of done private financing to a friend of hers, kind of business associate, whatever, from Russia. They've known each other a long time. And so he paid her like $1 million in cash for the apartment. And then the rest of it was she self-financed, and he was paying. Apparently, while mom was alive, there were no issues. Mom passes away, right? And among other things, we're like, well, this is great. This guy still owes, the other $2 million plus interest, and will continue making payments. And he proceeds to go, why would I continue making payments? She passed away, right? So before contacting us, daughter had already called him and said, oye, right? Where's my money? Where's the payments? I've spoken to other lawyers, and they all have said, my real estate lawyer says you have to continue making the payment regardless. It inures to the estate, right? So cough up the cash. And he goes, no, I don't owe any more money. And he hangs up and never picks up the phone again. Well, lo and behold, a satisfaction of mortgage gets recorded, signed by the deceased. Dated, not even dated before she died, because, I had a professor.
It was dated after death.
It was dated after death, Martinez.
Oh.
Because
so it wasn't fraud, because he fully disclosed after death satisfaction.
I mean,
They didn't pretend.
And it was witnessed.
Yes.
And it was notarized.
It was notarized.
But all of this happened after Mom passed away.
It's more common than you think.
I find it amazing. It's an incredible thing that Mom came back from the dead, not to talk to her loved ones, not to clear up any, no. She came back to satisfy mortgages, right?
Yes.
So,
I think Mom was really concerned about signing that.
She was. I mean, this was, a business acquaintance from Russia, and he first had told daughter she really always wanted to have this property.
Yes,
No matter whether I could pay it or not. And daughter was like, no, buddy, my real estate lawyer says you got to cough up the cash and continue paying. And that's when he just, went AWOL, like Colonel Parker. Went AWOL.
He says this is how we do it in Russia.
And he said, this is how we do it, and he recorded his own satisfaction. So initially we sue him, right? And his first defense was, what do you mean? I'm sure when he went to go see a lawyer, they said, buddy, come on, what are you doing here, right? So initially he was doubling down on the date must have just been wrong because she clearly was alive. Oh. I believe she was alive when she signed this.
Clear as a mistake. This is an error. An error.
Clearly, she was alive.
Undetermined signing now. Even though it was notarized and
everybody wrote the wrong date. I mean,
the notary was wrong, the witnesses were wrong, and the signature.
The document has the wrong date. The notary has the wrong date. Everybody has the wrong date on the document. But clearly, we must have all...
Leslie, obviously a misunderstanding.
Clearly, a misunderstanding.
I don't know. I just don't think you understand the misunderstanding.
Then, when we get at least a partial summary judgment on this is the date, buddy. It's written 3 different times. One is actually typed into the document. The other one's written by a notary, twice and whatever, in the block, which is hilarious. So we get partial summary judgment on that. Then he proceeds to move on to his next affirmative defense, which is, what do you mean? I paid. I transferred $2 million to Mom, right before she died. Apparently he's also psychic and he knows Mom was going to pass away and he wanted her to know that,
that was very sensitive of him.
He was very, so considerate. He was so considerate.
Yeah.
This money is of course nowhere to be found, right? There are no wire transfers. No. There are no checks. I mean,
those are traditional ways.
Traditional ways. And then when we bring up, mind you, a year and a half has gone by because now we have to take discovery on where the fuck is this money, right? Because we just go, we don't have the money, but that is never sufficient in litigation. Now they have the right to depose our clients and bank representatives, right? I mean, Mom had a lot of bank accounts and stuff. So 16 banks got to come testify as to the fact that they never received $2 million. That did not happen. And well, what is he saying now? I mean, Mom, was dead. No money has ever been transferred. The Nigerian prince must have stolen my money because I transferred it. I wired it to the Nigerian prince, to this undisclosed account that has nothing to do with Mom, nothing to do with our client, nothing to do with anybody that has to do with the estate. And it wasn't even $2 million. It was some random fucking number that's more than $2 million, actually. That was wired. Probably his own Cayman Island account is that he wired, right? And he's going, what do you mean? I was given wire instructions by Mom. Okay. I was given wire instructions by Mom.
We sent to Nigeria.
And it was sent to the Cayman Islands. And good luck deposing anybody in the Cayman Islands. So here we are.
Yeah,
2 years later.
Super secret trustee.
The super secret Nevis reroute,
very confusing.
Gurney, South Africa, trustee.
Very confusing.
Yes. And so here we are, at this point. I hope the judge is as annoyed at this entire, nonsensical ridiculousness as we are. But yes, Miami is a special place, right? And
yes, it is. It's very special.
It all started with the dead do sign deeds, Martinez.
I've had a few of those.
I know. I remember when I was a young and idealistic estate planning lawyer, so 10 years ago, apparently, I remember you were the first person to ever tell me that. And I was like, what? I was only a planning lawyer. Still am only a planning lawyer, but of course we have administration now. But back then, I had never dealt with an administration whatsoever. So I did not see this shit show that happens on the back end, right?
It's more common than you think. And actually, talking about shocked and appalled, clients are shocked and appalled when they think, well, the clerk of the court, the registrar, of course they will reverse this because obviously it's a fraudulent. All you gotta do is obviously the deceased was dead.
I mean, duh, judge.
And they should take like $20 to reverse this.
Why do I have to pay you to just do something so obvious?
Go to court and prove that the dead was dead. Again, did not sign document. And I agree with them. And I agree with them.
But that's just not how our legal system works.
It doesn't work that way,
That's just not how it works.
And the one case, we've digressed, but the one, I thought when I notified the title company, I thought it was, a
little better. You'd think they at least would.
Yeah, the title company, when I advised them the deed was signed by the deceased, they would acknowledge the death through a death certificate. Not my opinion. I'm not a doctor, obviously. And
I'm not the coroner here.
I'm not the coroner.
I didn't.
And we don't need an autopsy. It's been 5 years, so obviously
we're not going to exhume the body. No.
That's in the movies, but obviously. And they're like, well, but clients logic. I agree with them. Like, how can you have documents signed? Even if I had one where the person was in New York and, they were not around.
No, I mean, our litigation process in this country, and especially for Latin Americans, right? I feel like everybody from South America comes here and believes that this cannot be like the banana republic they live in. Right? I mean, they think that things here are super streamlined, super hecho y derecho, just, we file this, it's obvious, and in 30 days, I'm going to have the property back because clearly the dead does not, have the ability to sign deeds. And these witnesses are all liars, and this notary is probably Fulanito's cousin. That's not even a notary, right?
Yeah, and so what's very interesting to me, and we've digressed, is that actually the family's insulted that someone would try to
pull a fast one
to sign
make it this obvious
for their dead grandmother or dead daughter, and they're like it's very disturbing to them, which I didn't perceive.
Well, in my case, I believe it was just copy pasted from the previous deed because it is literally identical. Like it is. I think they literally cut it out of her signature out of the previous deed and taped it onto the new deed and e-recorded it because you even see a border.
The border
it's so bad.
Of the signature.
It's so bad. It's like, what the fuck is this? It is really incredible.
They've really gotten better, as I told you.
Yeah, you would think they would.
Now, like I told you, they cut and paste the signatures, which I used to say took like a technology. Now with Adobe Professional, they can just insert someone's signature, which is very scary. And back to Lisa Marie.
But we have due process here. I mean, that's what I think people don't realize, right? Here we do have to abide by the court deadlines, and everybody gets an opportunity to try to prove that the dead do sign deeds, or maybe the date was wrong, or whatever
you need a hearing
nonsense,
and
right?
a judge and all that to determine
whether the dead can execute the document.
Don't make me laugh. Yeah.
And where did these $3 million, $2 million? Well, we were owed for $2. We didn't ask for $3. We just needed $2. And apparently, the dead also sent wire instructions. That were incorrect.
Well, it's a hard life.
It is quite entertaining. It is still going on. It is still going on. So this is. I'm sure this also happens in L.A. This cannot only be in Miami. All big cities have interesting characters. This isn't good old boy, I don't know, whatever, Princeton, Alabama, where there's one judge and everybody knows each other. I think in big cities, there's a lot of other things that you can try to get away with. But here, these people really were, I'm telling you, you look at the loan documents, and this interest was inside of the company, right? And so basically what they did was they signed over all of this. And it's already signed. Like the second you default, we have the right to just go record our new. Now we own this company. You no longer own this company estate of Lisa Marie. No. You didn't pay us back. And they did say, hey, we've been sending letters and whatever since 2022. And nobody has made any good faith effort to make a payment, or nobody's even contacted us. So we decided to go ahead and take the property, like take the interest in the property in Graceland.
Kind of low key.
Real low key there.
Nobody's going to notice that. The tourists, there's like miles of tourists around the block. And
managed by... What is this?
We have taken over.
Nusani Investments and Private Lending LLC. Nobody noticed the little plaque changed, okay? Like,
yes, nobody
no
would.
Problem. No problem.
And talking about the South, so that Southern judge that would take judicial notice of Graceland.
Of like, what's going on here?
This is not plot number 5.
No. This is not some,
millions of people coming to Graceland.
Yes. I mean, millions of dollars are made every year off of, absolutely. Yeah, back in 1988, it was making $15 million.
Which is amazing.
In the Elvis Presley estate, actually. By 1988, it was making a shit ton of money. Which is incredible, right? Like, damn, that's people really want to go see Elvis's house. Yeah. Yeah,
we have to go and analyze this further, but they, it's one of those things where, that's why they have notaries and 2 witnesses and all that to make certain that people sign.
We need some indications of reliability. Right? We need to, and the other thing that I think the general public does not understand, right? I get pushback on this all the time. They believe when a deed is recorded, if it gets recorded, it's reviewed by like this government agency somewhere, this quasi judge. I mean, God himself has to like review the deed, or it wouldn't be recorded, right? Like, and I'm like, no one is reviewing any deeds. I mean, they're making sure that there is a name on the signatures, right? There's somebody signed something. The witnesses, we don't know if they're alive or not, but somebody signed whatever. And if it looks decent on its face, nobody's doing like compliance here. Nobody's doing an audit, of every single deed. And I think to the general public, that's a bizarre concept. Like, they believe if something's recorded, well, it must be so. Like, that's it, right? And
I agree.
That is not the case.
They are surprised, if not shocked, that nobody reviews these things. If you recorded a napkin and it had 2 witnesses and a notary, they were recorded.
I mean, the notary might be dead too. It doesn't matter.
It could be a fraudulent whatever, and and they could be idiots and not comply with the rules of recording. Otherwise, they're
right. If they got the basics right, it's getting recorded, and whether you've actually transferred title or whether you even owned title to begin with, right, is neither here nor there. That's to be litigated, right? That's to be figured out later.
Yes, I years ago, actually, when I started practice and became, as you know, I've done real estate or do real estate, and so initially years ago, must have been many years ago, in 1998, and so I was in a panic because there was a transfer, and it turned out to be some hoax where this guy claimed all South Florida. And recorded something under a Spanish land grant or some nonsense.
Oh, wow, a Spanish land grant. King Charles himself.
Yeah, he went with Columbus or something, some nonsense. And, the English came along and conquered Florida, which is another story. But he goes back to old Spanish law and putting logic to it. It could have been some total scam. So I had to call the title company and say, look at this. I said, no. We know about this. It's a scam. Just ignore it.
Right.
Some crazy person recorded this, claiming it under, I thought it was a total scam, but let's say, they gave these Spanish land grants to people.
Sure.
Back in the day where they gave you Florida, we don't own anything. It's
the whole swamp.
The whole swamp.
Here's your swamp.
We don't own our property. We don't own anything because it really goes back to the Spanish king or something.
This is sounding very Cuban to me.
Yeah.
You know how the Cubans are like, as soon as que cae Fidel, I'm going back to Cuba to get my mansion on the water, right? That belonged to my great-great-great-grandfather, and I'm going to go. It's still mine. It's still mine.
Yes.
I don't know who
Anyone listening, I fully support your claims against old Spanish Cuba under this podcast.
I don't think
Grandma's house.
I think you're going to have to fight some people to get them out of that house.
That's another topic. I fully support you getting Grandma's house, and but yeah, it is true that and I agree with them that they feel there's some sort of review or semblance of legitimacy.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain to clients.
And there's some sort of clerk of the court appeals process.
Yes, absolutely.
That the supervisor
and then they say this is like their fault, so why do I gotta pay to fix this? No, it's not their fault. So who's they? The $10 an hour clerk that sits there like recording deeds? Yeah. Like the little employee, the summer intern?
Yes, they...
It's her fault.
Well, it is...
And the first time I remember having a huge issue with this, actually, I'll never forget the first time the client really got very angry about it. And it was because they had recorded, so somebody passed away. Property is owned by multiple people. And they don't believe in lawyers or probate court. I mean, bucket, what do you need that for? And so they have a cousin that's a realtor because, 1 in 3 people in Miami-Dade County are realtors, even minor children. That number includes minor children. So I guess every adult is a realtor in Miami-Dade County.
It seems that way.
So they record a deed.
At least they have a cousin.
And instead of writing deceased, because this just gets better and better, it was like fulanito, comma. But instead of writing deceased, which is what they meant to write, which is not correct anyway, guys, don't do this. It wrote diseased. And so this is recorded, and now it went from fulanito, who died, to whoever, right? And by the time we got involved in this case, we're talking about 6 different transfers since then, right? And it's somebody that was trying to sell the property, that the last person that was like, what the fuck is this? Like some real estate lawyer that told them, all of you need to get an attorney. There are multiple probates that need to happen here because even one of the others, so our client, actually the dad, was the first person of the first transfer. But there were others that had passed away, and they just kind of did the same thing. They said, this person, and they just write it in. I mean, passed away, and transfer the property to somebody else. No, this is not how it works. And of course, all of these are literally recorded in the county records. And I was just like, lady, this is a shit show, and we got to, probate your dad's estate, which was kind of, by the time we got to that, it's like Christmas, right? Like they thought this property was long gone, and now they're being told that dad still has interest. It was never probated, it was never transferred anywhere. So it was very interesting because now you have to fix multiple layers of
it's more common, well, without the deeds, but I have a case now going back to the 60s because they kept it in the family, and they never bothered to probate
people just kept moving into the property.
And now the children, 2 out of 3, and one's 90-ish, is hanging in there, which is a blessing. But needs to get good title to everything.
Yeah.
And so now you got 1, 2, 3 probates.
Yeah.
And one under power of attorney. Bless his heart, as they say in the South.
Bless his heart, yes.
And then, so we're trying to handle this before any, widows, everything. It becomes like a flow chart.
Yeah.
And
of trying to prove who's the rightful owner and how we transfer from one to another.
We know, but as you know, I do title also, so trying to get down, distill it down to the bottom level, and we're trying to sell it before anyone else passes away. So it's not funny.
Excellent.
It's not funny.
Because you're going to need probate number 4.
Yes, I may. So I'm trying to close it as soon as possible. For that, but it is. We laugh, but sometimes within the family, they say, "Hey, brother Bob, true, move in,"
right?
And then
grandma passes away. Everybody's living on the property. They don't know, or they don't have the money to hire a lawyer to probate it. They live on the property their whole life, right? Things only get more expensive in Miami, so a lot of times people aren't buying and selling things. They're like, "This is the only house we're ever going to be able to afford," kind of thing. And yes, people just keep generation after generation. And Abuelita died already, 65 years ago. And at what point do you do quiet title, Martinez?
I do not.
You do not? He's like, I do not. I mean, when do you advise your clients, hey, let's just try to clear this title and go this route. We're not going to do 16 probates here. We don't even know shit about anything.
Well, quiet title, I don't want to get into it, but the probates, I wish there was, that's the other thing. And I wish there was. There's like the probate magistrate say, hey, you had 5 siblings and 4 died. We're not going to do 4 probates.
I mean, this is Abuelita had 5 siblings and 4 died.
Yeah,
they all were owner.
Now, like, it's just efficiency of everything. Can't we miss 4 steps and just get down to can we go down? And I feel bad because now we got to open up all these, going back into history.
Yeah.
And luckily the property has gone up in value.
Right.
To justify all this process. And before we wanted just to keep it in the family. And so it really brought it on. Luckily, I've been working on it for a few years.
God.
And so, yeah, I wish there was. And I've talked to other attorneys, and they have similar stories where we're all not the $5 million estate or something.
No.
We're talking about the house, one house.
This always happens in small.
Yeah, it's more of a budget crunch kind of thing.
Yes.
And trying to make it efficient. So we don't have a magistrate says, well, there was grandpa, he died, and now we have 2. And the other people said, yeah, obviously we all decided Bob was going to get it, and our bloodline goes this way. So in my head, I already decided this. So it's all this bureaucratic things that we have to do, and you can't skip a step before the title company. The obnoxious title company insists. The
obnoxious title company, the only one actually regulating shit here in Florida, for God's sake.
They insist on good title.
Thank God.
They don't understand the flexibility.
The Latin culture and how flexible we are.
It's not even Latin. It's But
it's multiple.
But it is a problem. They kept in the family. Normally, not in this case, but normally, there's the grandson that lives on the property, and now you had 6 people, and people are dying off.
I saw an article about this. I think Antunes wrote a huge article for the Reptile section, I think, talking about they had quantified, he had gotten some data from somewhere talking about the gazillions of dollars in value in real estate like this. That is just, there's a name for this. And how it's kind of encumbering, properties. It's not allowing the market to move, like the real estate market. And at some point it becomes a problem in a local market, right?
And what I now affectionately call fractional shares.
Oh.
So now, initially, I mean, it's not in the law, but the judges now are, and I have for years, discouraged, because as an only child, I don't understand this conflict between siblings.
It's hard.
And heirs.
It's hard for you to fathom.
I don't understand. In my mind, I solve it in 5-10 minutes. And but when you have fractional heirs, fractional ownership in real estate, and we're not talking, millions of dollars. We're talking one house, and I can't give the bathroom to one and the other, and I can't. It's what they call, fancy term is undivided interest. So when you have 6 siblings, hard to believe that. But I've had multiple 6 siblings that own mom's house, right?
Yeah.
And so
one is upset.
One is upset. And one lives in it.
And would really love, his money. His 1/6 interest.
Yes.
And the other one's squatting, he says, for free.
This is where the math comes in. 1/12, one half. Well, 1/6 of 1/2 is 1/12. I had to think about it for a second when I did it, and so the judge's eyes glazed over.
I was going to say, what judge was that in front of?
His eyes glazed over. So he and the other attorney, he encouraged us to settle it. Please
go outside and settle this case.
And I agree with him. I was irritated at first, but we shouldn't have them.
And then we want an accounting for all the rent that has not been paid to the other 5 of us.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that, yes.
And normally his brother Bob has lived there with mom for 100 years. The other people in New York or California or whatever, they want their money.
Yeah.
And then, but yes, I don't know if it's related, but there's this issue where you have these fractional ownership. and you have to do a partition action.
That's right.
And I highly discourage people. I'm too honest from spending a lot of money on litigation.
And it can cost a lot of money because you can cause a lot of havoc in those cases by saying certain interests are owed to you and blah, 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 blah. And the judges have to,
Yeah, it's emotional. Like Brother Bob bought a refrigerator. I didn't approve that. And that tile he got, I don't like that ugly tile they picked. You think, this is real life, So, and, so then you get into these, for me, nonsense issues, but
partition's supposed to be like a summary proceeding. Like there's supposed to be like no defenses to partition, but that is bullshit. Like, I mean, you could like encumber a partition for years and dicking around inside of a case.
Well, there's the new law, relatively new law, where they tried to
streamline this a little more,
and inheritance actions, particularly.
Okay.
Where what logically I did in my head, they put in writing, which is that if Brother Bob wants to buy Mary and his other siblings, two steps. One is the appraisal, right? Last one I did, magically, the two appraisals, because everyone they didn't trust each other.
And it came out relatively the same.
It came out the same, magically.
Imagine that.
And they asked for a Hialeah appraiser. I don't know what that means, but, I thought it was going to be some scam appraisal, but it turned out to be the same. Because,
they found the wrong guy at Hialeah.
Because Hialeah is very special. Someone who does not have their office in Hialeah does not understand the local customs. But they came out the same, so I was like, hey, they're worth the same. Magically, I thought one would come like $550, one $500. It's an art form,
Sure. No. We absolutely tell the IRS, valuations are an art.
Yeah, there's an art, definitely. But they came out the same, and then then you get into reimbursements and taxes and stuff like that. So now they have a two-step process. One of my main problems a lot of times, as you always have some sibling that won't agree to anything. That wants to buy the house but has no money.
Sure, yes.
And doesn't qualify. And mom's house is worth $100,000. Now it's worth $700,000. He doesn't have $700,000. He doesn't have $200,000. He doesn't have $200,000. He doesn't qualify. Good intentions, but not ability.
Get cute.
I always said I wanted to buy all this property.
You wanted to buy Graceland, but
I wanted to buy Graceland. But I don't have
ability. No ability.
I have desire, but no ability. So then, but it is good. They tried to resolve this kind of locked up property that people have. And the judges are sensitive. They don't want to essentially eject Brother Bob,
Brother Bob's been living on this property for free while the rest of us pay $5,000 in rent for a studio in Coral Gables.
You're so insensitive.
Brother Bob needs to get the fuck out.
Well, where's Brother Bob going to go?
That is not Sister Mary's concern.
No, not at all.
No, it's not her problem.
Your sibling, your loving sibling. The love. You're not. I sound like a hippie, the love, but...
by this time, it seems like everyone hates each other in these estates. Like, there's no love amongst anybody.
Sadly so.
Yeah.
So my desire for another sibling...
it's been tapered. It's been tapered down.
Yeah, but obviously, as attorneys, we're exposed to a subgroup.
Yes.
That doesn't have a lot of love. But it is true that there is I discourage people from fractional, what I call fractional ownership.
Sure.
Where they have different interests and not through bad reasons. They live in New York, have no interest in living in this house. The other one lives in the house for free, so they have an interest.
Doesn't want to sell.
And the third one says, "Hey, why don't we get income property and rent it out?" And
but
I don't
Bob
care
is
what
still squatting on the property.
And Bob
we can't rent it out.
They don't want to move in with Bob,
Nobody, they're not Airbnb the separate bedrooms. No. And I think this is all really interesting because I don't, coming from the background that I came from, as let's say, not dealing with these kinds of issues initially in my legal career, because I was more on the tax side, right? So different problems, not these kind of problems. They were slightly different problems. But then when I start the firm and I become partners with our mutual, friend, Warshawski, and I start seeing all of these things in administration because that's kind of his thing, especially when we first became partners. That was like the main thing. I do planning, do probate, right? And I start seeing this and I'm just like, my God, we as estate planning lawyers need to understand so much, shit in the corporate world, so much shit, which I already definitely had a very good grasp on that on the estate tax side, but less grasp of these kind of issues in real estate. Because I venture to say something that may sound quite elitist, but rich people have lawyers that don't do dumb shit like this, right? Like they don't end up with a property from 3 generations ago that we got to do 16 probates of grandma and whatever, and now this is a goddamn mess. That's just not something that happens when you have 30, $50 million, right? So this was very interesting initially of, man, the amount of time we spend looking at title, looking at these kind of real estate issues, understanding when we got to do a partition, when we do a quiet title, when we need to eject versus evict versus unlawful detainer, right? Try explaining that bullshit to clients. Like, it is wild because I am not a real estate attorney, right? I've never done a closing in my life. I don't think I ever will. That's not my jam. But I have a very innate understanding of these issues because of how often we deal with them.
Yeah, and buyers, they don't like it when people remain on the property.
No, they're not.
They have common sense.
They're not interested.
That Brother Bob is still in their bedroom.
Why is he still here?
So they have an innate understanding that they don't want to share.
Brother Bob is problematic. We want him out.
And Brother Bob won't let him do the inspection either. He's angry that someone would actually consider buying the house. Yes. And apparently Lisa Marie did not want to live in Graceland.
She did not.
Like in a different world. Imagine that Lisa Marie lived in Graceland.
I mean, she is not quite, this is all very recent. This happened in May. And Lisa Marie is the one actually initiating the lawsuit because, like I said, this private lending company already kind of got what they wanted when they recorded everything they needed to record and says, you're in default, bye, here, done, hours, thanks, peace, So she's the one that actually had to file a complaint and go, what the fuck is this? And she's kind of her estate is quasi insinuating that this whole thing may be a fraud, that this whole loan may not have happened. I mean, of course, as we know in complaints, you can allege things that don't initially make sense, that can actually counter each other, that even one thing is not true, the other thing can be, or they're both not true. Yeah. You can throw the kitchen sink, right? So right now, good strategy would dictate. They say, what the fuck is this? This is not legal. They can't do this. And even if they can, that's not my signature. That was not the signature of Lisa Marie. And even if it was, whatever, you go on to the next thing, right?
Can they get an affidavit now from Lisa Marie?
I mean, maybe. Miss Keough is out of jail.
Lisa Marie, she's out of jail now.
She's out of jail now.
I did not sign this.
She can, talk to the deceased and figure out. But right now, the estate, as of a month ago, is alleging that this is all bullshit. And
was she authorized to sign any documents?
That's right. Was she authorized to sign the documents? Don't know. This is all
apparently I lost track of Elvis company and the Elvis trust.
The company owns 15%. It's owned by the trust.
Yeah, and she's not an officer.
And maybe she's not. And there's a whole lot of what ifs.
I just had today where I said, hey. Someone said they signed a contract. Like, they're not authorized to sign the contract.
Who are they?
Showed up my doorstep.
Who are they?
1, I don't have a check for you, and 2, I'm not aware of this, and 3, they're not authorized to sign anything. So, not my problem.
So keep it going. Keep it walking. Not my problem.
Now, if they sue now, to say, hey, not authorized. Right. Even if they did sign, they're not authorized.
That's right. There are a lot of different real estate.
I'm so sorry they made promises or
I mean,
yeah, right. They had a power attorney for the deceased, and they went ahead. Hey, poor
Priscilla's got to deal with this. I mean, Priscilla in this lifetime has to just, I don't know, fix everybody else's screw ups. But actually, it's not Priscilla because the court did decide that Riley is the trustee of the trust and the one in charge and and everything. So it's actually not Priscilla. Priscilla, you can go back into your
retirement and
live your best life.
I don't need
this bullshit. Like, what? This is ridiculous. You know?
I don't need this. Although, as we discussed before, it's been very smart to keep Priscilla.
Maybe there wouldn't have been $3.8 million loans floating around, supposedly collateralized by Graceland of all things.
And and it's one of those things where I had. Kind of funny. It's funny, but where people actually keep signing documents with the power of attorney after the deceased is died.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh,
and I even had Ron type in, shall survive death, and closed on a loan.
And then they go, Martinez.
It is related.
Can't you read?
It says right it shall survive death. It says
right there. Like,
and I was talking to the sister. I'm like, how did they close? Oh, she used the power of attorney. My sister used the power of attorney. And we financed the loan. Oh, really?
Oh, that's just great.
And she said, well, I'm like, who prepared this power of attorney? Actually says shall survive death. No, my sister modified a form.
Yes.
See, I love hardworking people.
Industrious. They're just industrious people. Yes. Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth.
Yeah, salt of the earth.
They do their own deeds.
They do their own deeds.
They do their own powers of
hardworking, and just to avoid any confusion.
They're solution-oriented, Martinez.
Yes. To avoid any confusion, that their power shall survive death.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And I think if anyone takes anything away from this is an estate can get complicated really quickly, whether there's real estate issues, whether there's corporate issues, who has the right to do what, and the devil's in the details. This is all a very nuanced area of law. I know everybody thinks they could go on, LegalZoom and download something and go, fuck it, here's whatever. And then it's all fucked up. And we have huge problems that have to get resolved, and it takes years to resolve them. And that would be the lesson being taken away from, well, there's many lessons here. I mean, once again, don't trust certain trustees or pick the right person to manage your estate. Maybe do some ongoing planning, get some good advice. And then I have no idea who structured this deal, but it seems all up in the air, and we're not even sure if it's legitimate just yet. Right now, they're kind of alleging that this whole thing is a fraud.
Yeah, I'm curious also that, like I said, if anybody's, even if she is allegedly signed some documents.
Well, at least it's allegedly signed before she died.
Oh, that's
they
a good
got that
point.
done.
That's a good
they got
point.
that right. They got that right. They didn't fall into
after death bad.
After death bad. The date of these documents need to be before death.
It'll take a while to prove that people can. But after death, very bad.
And she's Lisa Marie's kind of famous, so everybody knew she died. There's that. It's a little easier to. Make sure it's pre-death when everyone knows what this person.
And I would think it's not in the report probably, but I'm curious. I'm asking the question: if she did sign a document that was notarized and witnessed, people would recognize her and be very excited to do pictures.
I imagine so. It might have been on the Instagram.
They would be
Closing
on
Insta,
with Lisa Marie. Signing documents. Although highly discouraged by the lender, but they would remember who Lisa Marie was before they saw the license.
In the deposition, there isn't going to be any, I don't really recall that signing. Yeah. Not sure. I did many signings that day.
Many signings.
I don't remember exactly. But that's my signature. I must have witnessed it.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to be able to.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting, well, do you recognize her? Did you know about her? Was it a talk around the office? She was coming in. Did she have security, for God's sake?
Right. There's a lot of factual things here.
Did she have security? A lot of nut jobs out there so that she would come in.
Sure.
And
sure.
In my thoughts,
was she even in that state? Right. Particularly celebrities love to take pictures all over the place, and so
yes, on
there
Instagram,
are pictures of you on Instagram and New York. Then how the hell were you in California that day? I guess you could be.
Good point. There could be a lot of evidence.
She was
at the club.
That happens a lot of people not even in the country. Yeah. Right. What? Guys, really? Come on now.
I've had that too, where people signed and they were in Costa Rica. Or
yes.
And they weren't here physically.
They were not physically
Maybe
here.
Not even in spirit, because I don't think they wanted to
This was not a remote notary either.
It wasn't a remote notary.
There was none of that happening.
So, that actually is the best because they keep track of international travel.
That's I wouldn't say easy, but at least that's better than deposing 16 people, right?
But they track these things.
They do. They
actually track, and all of my international, they know they're being tracked across all these. Nothing's a secret anymore.
If the public takes anything away from this, is all of this is going to now rely on a lot of factual testimony from a lot of different people. And that is very expensive litigation. I feel like the more factual something is that we have to prove, the more expensive this is going to become. This is not just an issue of law. This is not, let's go do some research and write a beautiful brief. And no, none of that shit's going to fucking matter. We're going to have to do a whole lot of discovery, and that's very expensive. So
yeah. And where it was signed, if it was in Tennessee, God knows everybody knows the Presleys.
Right. Yes. Versus,
I don't know, like Australia. Or
and I mean, we might have a conflict of laws issue too, right? What if all these loan documents are signed in Tennessee, and maybe under Tennessee, whatever, the authorized person was the fucking janitor? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, there might be some issues here that the estate is in California. This thing is obviously has something to do with Tennessee because the land is there. Graceland can't move. Graceland can't move. This might be one of those times where an estate issue ends up in federal court, the way Anna Nicole
diversity,
because there's diversity or whatever it is. So a lot of things to keep up with. We will check back in, I think, maybe a year from now.
Although if I was a Presley, I'd want it in Tennessee under the Southern Judge.
Oh, the Southern Judge with his curator, with his special master that writes 300-page reports. Like absolutely. I mean, I feel like Southern Judge might be a little biased. He doesn't want Graceland to be now by some vulture.
Why are you insinuating?
Vulture.
Yes.
He wants Graceland to remain in the family.
A carpetbagger coming in.
That's why we need, diversity to federal court. Absolutely.
No, the judge in Tennessee would totally handle this correctly.
Oh, under the law.
Other than some carpetbagger.
Unemotionally under the law.
Some carpetbagger coming from New York trying to seize Graceland.
Coming from LA? Even worse than New York.
Yeah, LA.
Even worse than New York.
Those fancy pants people from...
So we'll have to update and do another Lisa Marie Presley podcast episode, maybe a year from now when we have a lot more stuff happening in the estate. So thank you, Ernie. This has been another episode of Having Fun with Death and Taxes. Remember, whether you're a movie star or not, you got a plan for your estate to protect your assets, your wealth, your family, for hopefully generations to come. So follow us on the Tickety Talk, the Facebook, the Instagram. You're on the Instagram, right, Martinez? Mm-hmm. Are you on the Tickety Talk? I think you told me no.
No.
Oh, no, Martinez, you got to get with it. You got to get with the hipsters here on the Tickety Talk, YouTube, Spotify, and we'll see you next time on Fun with Death and Taxes.